Hi, I'm Taco Sauce. This video is a time lapse of the Game Grumps animated that I animated. I'm going to put the completed animation at the beginning and the end of this video so you can see what I'm working on. I will be doing commentary on it, so if you would prefer to just watch the time lapse with music, I recommend muting this video and opening up another tab for music. Let's get started with the video.
No! Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, there's so many. There's so many. There's so many.
I know. Dan, don't you think I fucking know?
Oh, my God.
Jesus! Tell me something I don't fucking know! Tell me trigonometry or something! I know there's so many! I can see! Jeez! There's little fucking ants everywhere too. Where do they come from? They've never been in this game before.
I
They just showed up in this stage, which great is, you know, I'm all about fucking, oh, it's a surprise. But fuck!
Bomb them. Bomb them.
Die.
There you go.
But the fucking ant doesn't die.
There you go.
Ant
It's
doesn't
okay.
give a shit.
It's okay. He'll just go about his anti-business.
Ant's as big as my fucking foot.
It's like Jurassic.
Bigger.
in here. Yeah, and these are tapeworms. This is pretty gross in here,
It's,
actually.
it's an insecty cave.
Yeah.
I will say that much.
It's insecticide.
God, they do so much damage.
The tapeworms?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's fucking. Oh, and they just come forever.
Drop a bomb. Oh shit.
Get out of here. Get out of here, you fucking little red armors. Get out of here. Get out of here. Don't. Get the fuck out of here.
Now! Yeah!
Yes.
Oh!
Not into the pit, it burns!
Okay, as you can see, I'm just starting with the what do you call this? The flippin', oh man, I shouldn't have done this already. Animatic, I have it labeled, wow. But before I did this, actually, I did the audio cutting and editing and stuff. Downloaded it from YouTube, and then sort of just visualized in my head when I was doing it, and I used Adobe Cloud for all this, so it's all Adobe products. So the audition, I was just flipping around with what I thought would be funny. Of course, it's not really easy to get the joke across when you're limited by audio, because you only have the one audio. They're not going to do another take. It's not even for the cartoon. So the joke I was trying to get across is Aaron doesn't want to share his pancakes, and you can see Danny is really skinny and Aaron's really fat, and that's funny to me. And the ants are Aunt Jemima's, not the best artist, so it may not have been obvious, but that's the premise there. So this was my first animation in like 5 years. I did one in 2013, early 2013. They kind of sucked. It was fine. And this one, I put a lot more effort into. It took a long time because I have a job, so I had to, you know, deal with that. Here I am. What was I doing there? Just trying to get some sound better, because I needed time for that pause in the middle, so I needed to adjust that a bit later, which you want to do the animatic for, so you don't have to Frankenstein it when you're like halfway through. Because audio isn't very easy to manipulate in Flash, for sure. Or animate is what it's called now. Everything's an animate. As you can see, I have the timer in the top left. That's actual time. So of recording. There's over like 35 hours total that I spent just in the recording portion. There's more that wasn't recorded. Here I'm just making the puppets, is what I tried to do. Is a mix between puppet and frame by frame animation. You can see I kind of suck at flash drawing. I had to sort of figure it out as I went. One thing that comes up later that you'll see is that there's a frame picker now in Adobe Animate, and if you have that open when you go from inside the puppet to outside the puppet, it just like crashes Animate, and I didn't figure that out for a while because I'm an idiot. And I really suck at hands. The hands are so stupid throughout the whole thing. That's a common theme for a lot of people, is that they suck at hands. A lot of people would power through it and figure it out, but I just said, fuck it, I'll just have shitty hands. And that's what I did. But it's fine, it's just 2-minute long cartoon, who gives a shit, not me. I also suck at shoes. What is that? The head looks good though, I think. It was kind of choppy because the layering, as I said, I haven't done one of these for a long time, and last time I didn't even do puppets. This is the first puppet animation, that's for sure. So this was garbage in the layering that I had. I was looking up tutorials while I was doing this, particularly for the mouths, because before I just did like squares and just made it bigger or smaller. This time I was trying to make it look okay, and it does look okay in the end, I think. This took me forever, the puppets. Like, this is just Dan that you've seen so far. It's already been 2.5 hours that I've been spending on this thing. That includes the animatic, but doesn't include the audio editing. Yeah, I spent a lot of time on this. This goes on for an hour and 18 minutes if you weren't aware, so I have to buckle up. We're going for a ride. Animate is sort of notorious for how shitty it is to draw in. Like, you kind of have to be very experienced to get good drawings, from what I understand. Like, you can see I'm not very experienced, and all my corners, they don't even like line up properly in the... Am I just redoing this part? I think I did it and then I just had to redo it because I lost it. Because I don't know why. But the chin, I was trying to get that to move as well, because I'd add some depth to what the animation has. And I should have had it on probably a different layer, or I should have done something different. You can see I'm always crossing things out, trying to figure out why it's not filling properly, and here I am moving everything to where it should have been, because you want to keep the top teeth consistent, because those don't move. So I messed that up immediately, and then the chin's all weird, and I spent a lot of time just dicking around. And I wasn't even going to touch his little stubble thing there. I'm not going to make that move. I'm not good enough for that yet. But the other thing I didn't do was, you're supposed to horizontally flip things as you create them, because that highlights how weird it is. And that comes out later in the actual animation, where I need them to look left instead of right, or right instead of left, whichever I initially created them as, and they just look so stupid. Oh my god, I had such a hard time with side mouths. Oh, I'm so bad. And I tried to keep it all in one puppet. I'm not sure how you're supposed to do it even. Like, I did front, 3/4, and side view, and I put them all in one puppet, and I just don't know how you're supposed to like quickly go back and forth between them. But if you don't keep them in one puppet, then you don't have them in the same spot that you were framing to begin with. So like, I don't know the proper way to do it. I think it's just like a lot of finagling and just experience that I'm missing. I was really bad at eyebrows too. Like, I was watching the tutorial on how to do eyebrows. There's just some guy that was explaining it on YouTube, and it was so smooth when he was doing it, and I thought I was just like basically copying it, but it looks like shit when I in mine. And I also do like I make the eyebrows move with tweens and stuff, but also switching them with frames. But if you, it has to be like really subtle switch for it to not look weird if you're also tweening. So I ended up just like straight up immediate switches from one type of eyebrow to the other instead of tweening because I didn't like the look of it. This side view took me forever too. We're already at 4 hours and I'm still on Dan. I've done a front view and like a sort of a 3/4 head view. And here I'm just trying to do the side body, which I didn't even use in the end, I don't think. So that was a waste of time. And I didn't use it because it looks so stupid even after I spent all this time on it. Still have little booties, little boot shoes. Look all fancy trying to keep all the proportions, but it's pretty dumb. And also the shading, like every time you tried to make them go from one side to the other, the shading would also flip because I didn't want to do 5, I guess, like facing right, facing left, 3/4 side views and one facing forward. So the shading just like flips sides. So the light source doesn't make any sense throughout the cartoon. Which is fine because it gives a shit. That was basically like my, given all the time I spent on this, in addition to that, I was also under the impression of who gives a shit. Like that was my, when it came down to it, if I didn't want to do it, it was who gives a shit. But even still, I spent so much time on it because I guess I gave a shit. A lot of the color finding was irritating. They have this tag swatches, and I was creating these puppets in separate files because it kept crashing because of the frame picker thing that I was talking about before, and I didn't figure that out, so I was thinking that the file size was too big or something. But the colors became an issue because I kept having to go back and forth between files to get the right one when I start the Aaron puppet. I did an Aaron animation before, it hasn't been posted anywhere, but that's where this starts from, so that's why you immediately see Aaron instead of me drawing him. His puppet was a lot easier than Dan's because he has these little tiny T-Rex arms and it's just like a circle as a body. So very simple animation. I was thinking of giving him a goatee there, I guess, but I didn't want to because fuck that. I spent enough time on Dan's chin. And I just straight up took Dan's mouth, put it into Aaron, and then just deleted the chin. I don't like the shading I put on Aaron, but I never changed it, I guess. Oh man, the head was really hard to friggin' do. I don't know why. This was at the beginning too. I got a lot better. This is only a 2-minute animation, but I learned a ton. It was kind of fun throughout it, I guess. Once again, I did shitty eyebrows. And shitty eyeballs. I didn't want to put the whites in the eyeballs either because then I'd be moving pupils around, but I'd rather just move the whole face. But yeah, I'm just kind of putting them on top of the animatic, but I never like did it properly. Like you're supposed to keyframe this stuff, like the very important framing. You're supposed to put the puppet in, and then you kind of go from one frame to the other and making it flow adequately. And I didn't do that, and I probably should have, but when I wanted to change the timing of the sound, it kind of helped a bit because I didn't have to redo it, I guess, because I didn't do it to start with. The whites in the eyes were a good touch. That came in pretty late, but it worked out. I also had to break up his arm. Like I started with his arm, which is one. I was going to do different frames for them, bent and moving up. But then I wasn't very good at drawing, so it looks stupid. It looks stupider than if I cut them at the joints and just did the tweens between for the animation. So you can see me here. It's still just one arm, but I have to break it up later. And already I have like just so many layers. Layer management is probably one of the bigger things that I learned. I'm already 6 hours deep into this, haven't even started animating. It's all just puppeting. Just like still figuring out. Oh no, am I animating now? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I'm still figuring out Aaron. I haven't done his anything yet. And here I'm just trying to get the outline of the head. And that was a rough time because his puppet on the left, it wasn't working. I kind of forget why. It's because it had like a whole bunch of stuff inside of it that I didn't layer properly, and then it crashed right there. So it was really annoying. So I had to. Look how stupid that outline looks. I tried to make it nice, but I just couldn't do it because I'm not good at it. So this is, I guess maybe I'm using the one on the left as well, but this is the 3/4 view for sure. I had a really tough time with his hair. You'd think it'd be simple, but it took me forever to make it look less weird than it initially was. It still looks weird at the end, but it looks okay. But his face just looks kind of dumb, which is okay because that's sort of the parody. Is he's supposed to look dumb. His chin never gets old. Also, his hair highlight flips sides, as you can probably, if you ever noticed throughout the animation, because I only did one highlight and I'm just horizontally flipping rather than doing another view. "7 hours deep." It's crazy how much effort I put into these puppets, and they look so dumb. See, I flipped it there, and it looks stupid to me. So I was trying to fix it, but I didn't actually do a very good job of fixing it, I don't think. Here I'm labeling everything because I wasn't labeling it properly. I'm turning a bunch of things into symbols so that I can have the switch and keyframes when I want to, 3/4 view, putting everything into one puppet, because I didn't do a very good job of organizing this to start. But that's to be expected. I still love Aaron's puppet. He looks so doofy. With his standard grump face, but the body just kind of matches the face, I think. Yeah, and his front view, because I did like a separate animation before, it was a lot smaller than I wanted it to be, so I had to be dicking around with his body and proportions, so I kind of had to like redo the front one after a while and make it the size proportionate so that when he was turning to the side he was the same height as when he was looking forward. His side view came out a lot better than his front view. Look how well that meshes together. And then the 3/4 view, I had a rough time. Any view I have a rough time with. I'm just still learning all that stuff. But the mouth in particular, because I had to like chop away some of his face, and I didn't layer it all that great to do that. And he doesn't have a chin, right? Like, because it's just a circle or an oval. So the chin came out. It doesn't talk very well unless you have a chin, from what I see. Once again, I'm redoing his hair because it's such a problem with his hair. It's a very standard hair shape, you'd think. I thought, but I just had so much trouble with it. I should put that animation that I did before somewhere. I'll put it in the description just so you can see what it was. It was just him, a walk cycle with his neck flopping back and forth. But I never posted it anywhere. I should. Yeah, I'm just redrawing the front view there, I think. Making them bigger. And also the side views. His feet never really came into a factor. because you never really see his feet throughout the whole video. Seems like I spent like a good quarter on the time spent on this video just doing puppets. I think I'm finally starting to put them into the animatic. Oh, and I had to put Dan into one puppet too, because I had him split, and I don't think he even has a side view yet, so I'm still puppeting. The stupid thing is, if I was to do another one of these, I would probably have to make a new puppet because I hate these ones so much because they were so chopped together. Be much smoother, probably even faster if I just made new ones. I spent so much time on this and I didn't even use a lot of these views. I used the 3/4 view but never the side one. But as you can see, every time if you change one, they don't, like, cause I had a side view for arm, torso, booty, and legs. And you can't just change one, you have to change them all or else they don't match up. So I didn't know if there was like a quick way to do that or what. So I had there's a lot of layers in these symbols. That was something to learn too. Oh, it crashed again. I still think at this point I hadn't really figured out the frame picker issue. But there's not that many frames yet. It's when you add in the main timeline a whole bunch of frames, and then in the symbol you add a bunch of frames. And then it takes each frame into the frame picker and it just crashes because there's too much information for the thing. Here I'm trying to add highlights and I couldn't do it because it looks stupid, but I guess I settled on something. Looking at this again, it's pretty dumb looking side view. Whatever. Yeah, I had something about colors there. That's why I was writing that. I kind of forget what happened there, but it was annoying at the time. And matching up Dan's stubble to his mouth on the side view was a real issue. Even though I never used it, I spent a lot of time on it. Look how stupid he looks. That's why I didn't use it. He looks like a shitty Pac-Man. It's evil. Hit the 10-hour mark. Yeah, I tried to give him a chin here. Fuck, that looks dumb. Should've used it just for how stupid it looks. Looks so goofy. Then I did his head, and then the side view didn't even like match up with it. Maybe I had to redo it, but I spent a lot of time on this too. Especially his nipples. I like Dan's puppet too, like just the design of it. He looks like a starving guy. In contrast to fat Aaron. Funny. I also made him taller intentionally because I know Aaron hates it. Yeah, this took a while to do because I started March 2017 and I finished early July 2017. I took April off because I was busy at work and I was just tired. And I'd just come home and work like a half an hour, maybe an hour a day. Maybe not even that day. So that's why I was just a slow grind, like a river meandering through soft dirt. Eventually I'd get there. For just 2 minutes at the end, yeah. Yeah, so I'm actually animating here. Finally starting. This is the opening scene. Aaron's coming in to catch a pancake. And this was really hard because I rotated it inside the symbol, or maybe I rotated the symbol. So when I went inside the symbol, he'd still be upright, and like just with his looking up is what he'd be. So it was really stupid and annoying. And I was using this what's it called, animation tween. It's not the classic tween, it's the other one. And if you tried to do any other tween on the same timeline, it wouldn't do it. So I had to just turn those into frames, which fudged me up because I didn't know at the time that I had to match frames inside of the symbol with the frame it's on in the movie main timeline just to keep it consistent. So that was really frustrating to figure out. So I haven't even figured that out yet, but now I'm just doing the background. And I wanted it to be in the cave. The problem was it was so dark in the cave because they say specifically in the dialogue that it's an insecty cave, so I had to make it a cave. I didn't have to, but I did. And you can't really see Aaron's arms because they're just a stick, like a black stick, and I made the background pretty dark, and I couldn't even get the colors to mesh right. You can see it's got those like tree rings in there. And these are stalactites that appear to be floating because still noob. This table turned out well. I like the way that this came out. I know where my priorities lie. Things that look just okay. I made it the same color as the syrup though for some reason. I made the syrup really orangey because you couldn't see it if it was syrup colored because I made the background so dark. And I made Aaron's pancakes stupid looking because he's a big goofball. Put some gradients in there. Beautiful. Yeah, some of these symbols came out real nice. Plates, so stylized, and the pancakes look real good. I had to... A lot of the stuff was references because I'm not this good on my own, so I just go on Google and type in pancake and then see what came up and then just try and copy it, basically. Not copy it, but similar shapes at least, and make it fit the style I was going with in my animation. I probably could have done this better by just like having transparency rather than trying to fake transparency with my coloring here. Because if you look this close at it, it kind of looks dumb. But from far away, it looks okay. Butter looks good. These look like good pancakes, I tell you what. I just duplicated a whole bunch of those. So yeah, you can see here the whatever that tween is called, motion tween I think it is causing me issues. And I'm adding a whole bunch of frames inside of the symbols now, and he's sideways, and I'm really fucking annoyed because I don't know why it's wrong. He keeps teleporting to the top of the screen, and then I'm trying to make him rotate adequately. Oh man, that was frustrating. He's like, why are you like this? Look how much trouble I'm having. Oh my god. Just about 13 hours into it, and I'm, what does that say? 5 seconds into the actual animation. 0.1 seconds is what it, this is inside the symbol. This is 2.7 seconds in, and that includes the intro that I haven't even animated yet. Yeah, here you can see I switched from frame by frame to moving the components of the arm. Had I set that up better, like you have, because his arms are so skinny, they don't mesh well when you rotate them. There's not enough meat to have them not look weird. Like you can see the edges of the symbol that I'm moving. Another thing I didn't know beforehand was that the little white circle which shows the axis of the symbol has to be... I kept like making a keyframe and then moving that thing and then trying to... And then I rotated on that axis and then I try to do a motion tween in between them. and that would just make it teleport across the map for some reason, and I couldn't figure it out for a while. So that's probably why I'd never stuck with motion tween, because I was doing that wrong. But motion tween was irritating to begin with because you couldn't have a keyframe to start. You had to tell it to be a motion tween, and then you had to stick with it unless I was just doing it wrong. But yeah, here I was fixing his hair because it kept going in front of his neck. Like I wanted it to, and when he turned his head, I wanted it to have some depth to it. And like when I was moving his head down to look at his pancake, the hair wouldn't go at the same speed as the rest of the head. And obviously I did the puppet layering wrong or something, but I couldn't get it to move with the head unless it was also in front of the neck, because the neck wasn't part of the head symbol, it was part of the torso symbol, but the head needed to be in front of the torso. So I just gave up and made the hair so that it wouldn't go in front of the neck, it would just be short. Yeah, and I still messed up in a lot of areas. Like I had to fix his pupils because they didn't have white. And when you see he turns to the side there, his pupils are just black. Makes him look dead inside. Which he is, because he hasn't eaten. Because Aaron won't share his pancakes. I found that making symbols really big to start with was a lot easier than making them proper size and then trying to make them fit. I did come up with issues later on when I wasn't doing something right and then they just all of a sudden explode to their normal size. But I could get the detail I wanted if I started big and then just shrunk it. Which is the standard thing apparently. Like it wasn't my idea obviously, it was the internet's idea. Yeah, so I just changed everything to a keyframe there from Aaron's motion tween. And that really messed things up in terms of keeping frames consistent between the main timeline and the puppet. Because I wanted to like change the timing of what he was, when he was bouncing in there, but I couldn't because I didn't want to redo it. Like I guess it was just my laziness. I could have done it, but I didn't because I was lazy. And who gives a shit? It's a 2-minute Game Grumps animated. But yeah, you can see I'm animating like the roll while he's facing up because of how it just was. That looked like a wiener for a second. But no, it was just a hand. Just look how dumb that looks. Just gave up. I like the way that the animation of the arms worked out, the way he swings his arm when he brings it down, because he'd use animation principles and whatnot of weight, have it bounce back a little less than it goes. You know, a little less than it goes. Bounce back. Yeah, the tween was pretty nice, actually. And then here I am finally starting some of the mouth-ing, lip syncing. And I had to, a couple times, here is the puppet's all fucked up again because I didn't know that every symbol had to be on single frame because that's the way I wanted it. I didn't want, it would just loop is this the default on here. There's probably a way to change that, but I didn't. And I had to redraw a bunch of this stuff because I forgot to do the 3/4 mouth and the puppets themselves. What was I talking about? Lip syncing? Yeah. Yeah, and then after a while, because Dan laughs a lot, and I didn't have any smiling ones, so I had to redo that later, which I brought up too early, because you'll just watch me do it later. But I wasn't very good at individual components. To start with, at least. Yeah, so this part, if it's not obvious, Aaron comes in and he's all mad because Dan almost got one of his pancakes And Dan's saying, well, there's so many pancakes, why can't I have one? And then Aaron stabs him with a fork. This is only 7 seconds into the full video, and I like the way it turned out so much that I actually spent the rest of the time to finish it. I'm already 16 hours deep of what's recorded. You can understand why I spent another 24 just to finish it off. I had to do more hands. Frame picking was an issue. Because I guess it just comes down to laziness. I didn't want to do a right hand and a left hand, so I kept flipping them, but it didn't really work out that well, so you just have stupid looking hands. But I like the way that this turned out. Yeah, and because Aaron didn't have those joints, I just decided, well, there's no other way around this but to have his shoulder shift all around his body. Ignoring physics was, once I decided to do that, was good. Still probably too dark. I probably should have made it a bit brighter background, or maybe like the front of the cave, so that you had wilderness on the outside, so you could have a light background. You could see his arms actually move. It's mostly behind a table the whole time anyways. I had a lot of trouble syncing this up because of the initial bounce in. You can see all those individual frames there, and I did that too late where I'm trying to get him the stabbing motion, but I couldn't get it to match up with the main timeline and also match up with the bouncing in at the start, and it crashed there. I hadn't gotten in the habit of clicking out of frame picker at that point yet, I don't think. Another, at the end, when Aaron is protecting his pancakes, he says, "Get out of here, you fucking red armors." And he was referring to the ants in the actual gameplay that they were doing, but it kind of fit in with him stabbing Dan and his arm bleeding and getting all red, so Dan was the red armor. That's why I kept that in. Yeah, that fork bounce turned out real nice. Nobody would notice it, but I like the way it turned out. There's quite a lot going on in every frame, it seems like. As far as I'm concerned, I felt like I was doing a lot, but it's not all that much is actually happening, I guess, compared to animations you'd see on TV. Obviously, quality and time spent much different. But here I'm doing his evil, an actual smiling face from the side view. I'm drawing some more eyebrows that actually, those eyebrows were so thick that they didn't really fit in, but I kept them in anyways because they're like the mascot, they're like in the canon of his design. You can see his pupils don't have any whites, so I added those right there. Yeah, they're not overly expressive throughout the whole thing. That's an area I could definitely work on. I don't think it's adequate. You can see on the side it disappeared right now, but all the frames that were over there and how I was making everything slow. And finally I can start on Jesus. This went much smoother. Very much smoother than the other puppets because I kind of had experience at this point and figured out there's not very many moving parts with Jesus. Ho ho, commentary. And he just came out a lot better. He still looks kind of stupid just because of the art style I chose, but I think it works, you know? He's mostly behind a table. Don't see him do much. The side of his face does kind of look stupid because after I finished this puppet, I figured out I wanted to move his head a bit. So that was kind of jerry hooked in. So I don't know what this is. This must be Pancake Cave because he's there eating pancakes too. All these lines that I'm putting through everything is the pencil tool, and then I'd use the fill tool to do the shading, and then I'd get rid of the pencil. That's what all that is, if you were curious. And here that was the first time I was moving his head significantly, and I had to add a whole bunch of frames to each view, each side view, 3/4 and the side view, because I hadn't done that at this point. And the moving of the whole screen, later on you'll see me try to use the camera tool, which sucks dick. Yeah, so I ended up just moving the whole screen because that's how it had to be, but that's what I started with, and I was doing a bit of parallaxing, and trying to, the table would move further than Dan and Aaron because it was closer and all that, and the background had to move slightly, and it went surprisingly smooth, actually. Here I am making his halo float on the guide layer, motion guide. So I'd make a really small circle and just had his halo go around it. That was pretty neat. I like that. It took a bit to figure out why it wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, but after I did, it looked nice, I thought. And here I am doing more mouths for Aaron because he sucks. I hate the side view. It came out so stupid looking. Some F's and some L's and some T's. Some TH's. Yeah, it just looked really weird to me. Yeah, I didn't match up things as well as I would have liked. We are a cool almost 20 hours into this, and we're at 16.5 seconds into the video. It's like halfway through, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm just a lot of lip syncing from now. He's yelling at Jesus, and I had to make a protractor looking thing for his trigonometry. A lot of the character out of this just came from head movements. Like, I didn't want to move the body very much, because to move the body you have to move absolutely everything. So I just, near the end, even around this time, you could just see I was, instead of tweening the head and the face to make the head move okay, I just straight up went from one view to the next, and I just like the way that turned out. It's a lot easier to animate, and because I was so shit at animating it the other way, it looked better too. You spend, look at, I wonder how long I spent on this. This is probably like, I don't know, I guess 15 minutes just to make that symbol. I don't know what that is. A compass, I guess. Whatever it's called. Animating the throw wasn't all that easy, because it has such tiny little arms and it doesn't like bend all that well, so it looked a little stupid. I had to put in a th. Yeah, that one, I think it was that one that messed me up, because I put it in like the middle of the symbol pack, like the middle frame, because I used the keyframe from another mouth symbol and then just added a tongue, but that shifted half of the symbols one to the right, and it's done by symbol place, is like the frame picker. Frame place, I mean. So the lip syncing didn't work anymore because I shifted them one space, so it looked stupid, and I had to spend a bunch of time figuring that out and fixing it. Yeah, I'm trying to add a guide layer for the arc here. That's how it ended up, but I spent a long time like why it kept fucking up, and it was because I didn't have it in the right layer. Like, I had the thing animating, but it wasn't attached to the layer for the longest time. That was dumb. Yeah, I spent a lot of time figuring out, like, right at the apex when he like shifts his shoulder back and it like rotates a bit and then he launches it forward. It still kind of looks weird at the end, but I just gave up. But it looks okay. And yeah, here you can see me moving his head, and the hair on the left is what makes it look stupid, I think, because it just comes in, just overlaps his head, but I didn't care anymore. Yeah, this was a head turn that I just tweened because it needed some motion to it. It needed more than just a quick flip because you wouldn't notice it otherwise. Yeah, and I fucked up there because I forgot to keyframe the beard before I moved his mouth. And I forgot to make another frame, so I just like deleted the first one, so I had to redraw that, so that was annoying. And I'm going back to fixing the fork stabbing because, as I said, that was a real tough area for me. Well, what's going on here? I don't remember. Yeah, I'm just watching it now, seeing. If you're in the preview mode, the swatches overlap it. That little thing on the bottom right there where the frame picker is. So that was annoying. Yeah, here I had to add Danny Smiles. It's a good rap name for Dan. Danny Smiles. I wasn't very good at animating laughing, because I think you kind of have to have the torso bounce as well, and I wasn't up for that, so it's just his mouth moving up and down like a robot would. Making goofy faces. Yeah, I decided to give him a little cat smile. I find cat smiles hilarious. The background kind of is similar to their hair colors too, which was stupid of me. Definitely should have made the background different. Yeah, this is the part where I was trying to get the camera to zoom in on their face. Like, this was one of the stretchier areas and more comical points that this was like the point that wanted me to animate this thing, where Aaron was like, no shit, there's a lot of ants, or whatever the problem was. I can see there are a lot of enemies, and I thought that was funny. And this is what spawned the idea of actually going to the effort of making this, and I wanted to highlight it by zooming in real close, just having their face is all you see at this point. And I was using the camera tool to do that, as we'll see in a couple seconds. But what I didn't know is that if you turn the camera off, it resets itself. Like, you toggle it on and toggle it off. Like here, you can see me dicking with the camera. When you toggle it off, it all disappears. It just like resets itself like a fucking asshole. Like that. So when I close this and open it up next time, and I do the preview, it wouldn't work. And I like fix it and say, all right, save it. And then it still wouldn't work the next time I came back. So then I left it open for a while. and then that fucked up other stuff, and then I don't know, it was a really frustrating tool. Any problems I had, I assumed that I was doing it wrong, but I'm pretty sure the camera is a stupid tool. If it was the only thing I was using, like if nobody else was moving, it would have worked fine. Oh, it crashed, I think. I did that quite a few times. But if it was the camera tool was the only thing I was using, it might be fine because I'd never turn it off and I'd keep it open and blah 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 blah. Here I'm drawing Aunt Jemima. I had to give a white background because once again the background is so dark in the normal screen, and I wanted to make everything actually inside of the video itself. So I did 3 different variations with how much syrup they were in, and I made that opaque. So that was pretty cool. I like the way that those turned out. I didn't draw their face all that well, but the opacity and just their general business turned out pretty good. And I did the swatching, and I changed the color, and I changed all of them at once, and that was cool. There I am digging with the camera again because it's a piece of shit. I do a lot of previewing at this point, making sure that the flow is nice. Another thing that I didn't mention before is that this is sped up 2,800%. I would have done it faster, but if you do it any more faster, I found that it would start doing frame skipping and it just looked choppy rather than fast. So that's why this is as long as it is and as fast as it is. Yeah, this is the part that I decided after I had already done the audio mixing that I wanted a longer comedic pause. But I didn't have the time for it in the audio that I already had, so I had to just quickly do the facial expressions that oh no, that comes later. I jumped ahead. What an idiot. I'll talk about that later then. This is when I'm talking about ants and how many there are. This was one of the funnier bits too, when Aunt Jemima is known as being one of the more racist, what would you call it, a symbol, a mascot? Because there's, look up old Aunt Jemima branding, and it's like Disney racist. So I have the cutaway gag, the just cut to black screen when Aaron says bigger, and then the Aunt Jemimas look at him in disgust and all walk away. That part's really funny. Here's when I was tweening his face, and I messed up and I had to move his mouth in spots. What a mess that was. And I wanted him to look down. I had to custom draw his face, and I don't know, it actually turned out okay, I think. It's not the greatest. I'll do some actual frame-by-frame animation soon. That was pretty fun. But I don't think I could have done the whole thing frame-by-frame. That would have... Well, they don't move very much. I don't know, I spent... What was it, like... Oh, we've already gone past... The clock doesn't go over 24 hours, by the way, so we're at 25 hours into this, so I was talking about 52 minutes into this video and I've already lost my mind. Yeah, frame by frame animation. I couldn't have done it even though that not much happening, but the tweening, I don't know. Maybe I'll consider that for my next video. This one probably would have gone faster if I did frame by frame, considering how long it took me to do the puppets, but then I wouldn't have learned how to do puppets. I like this gag too. He just has a pouch. Just a little kangaroo. Made a party popper. Yeah, this was okay. Where I did some actual frame by frame, just confetti super simple process, and the string came out nice. Nobody would ever see how smooth that string was, and the combination of motion tweens and frame by frame. Because the string was frame by frame, but and then the confetti was frame by frame. But the movement of it, I guess, of the actual unit, other than the string, was just simple tween. You had a bunch of colors, making them fall inside the symbol. I bet there's a whole bunch of ways to do this better than what I did. But this is how we learn. Just the audio alone, when I was watching this video, this part was just really funny to me. Aaron being mad at Dan. Classic. Yeah, here I am fixing the fork again, because I fucked up again somehow. Now I'm drawing some tapeworms finally, because I realized that a tapeworm needed to be on screen. As simple as this thing was, it wasn't all that easy for me. Here I'm trying to just like draw it slowly wiggling onto screen, but I found that that was stupid looking and harder than if it was just a exaggerated flop. So I make a whole bunch of worms. Look at all those tweens I have on the side. That's because I fucked up somewhere. I didn't make symbols properly. Yeah, I had to do an exaggerated flop because I couldn't get him to do like a small wiggle and not make it look stupid. If you look closely at anything that I've drawn, it looks dumb. But from far away it looks okay, I think. This is the worm walk cycle. His body's frame by frame, but his head is the symbol, which is mostly okay. It's just a tapeworm. Then I had to move it frame by frame in the main timeline so that it would actually look okay. I did a lot of dicking around with the Aunt Jemima movement as well, because I didn't time it properly, and it wasn't like a set distance that I wanted them to go. I just wanted them to be moving. I didn't want them to look stationary and stupid. You can see me dicking with the hair again there. So it was like 20 times that I had to go into the Aunt Jemima timeline of its symbol, make it longer, make it move more or less. So that could have benefited from some more planning beforehand. I get to do a bit of frame by frame. No, it's not a frame, it's just a bounce for a bomb here. And it turned out pretty good because I had a guide layer for this too. I like just using tools that I had. I tried to make the string wind down before it blew up, but it looked dumb. It probably, once I shrunk it down, it looked fine. But I didn't, so eat a dick. Yeah, just make a tiny bomb first and just make it big. Couldn't get the thing, this pen tool. It wasn't curved the way I wanted it to be, so I probably could have done this just like frame by frame, stretch squash as fast as I could have on the actual guide layer itself. but it's good to learn. Yeah, here I did some frame-by-frame animation of the explosion. I was watching another tutorial when I was doing this, and just like how his method of doing it. And his was obviously better, but mine turned out okay. I think I tried to have it like wrap around Dan and be cool and smoky and neat, but that doesn't come out very well. The idea is that it explodes and then a gust of wind comes in and takes it away, and you have some like trailing smoke left over, but it went too fast for that to... I didn't add enough frames of the trailing. Probably should have had the ant behind this as well. Oh well. Joke comes across fine, I think. And the coloring wasn't all that great, because when I was doing the line work for it, I didn't close anything off, so I couldn't just fill it. I had to outline it again with the color of the smoke in general, and then fill that. And then I wanted highlights, and then I wanted different highlights. It didn't come out the best. I could probably have made it better if I planned it out better. That's a general theme with most things in life. If you plan better, you'll have better results. But these are just gross highlights. I'm just guessing where the light is coming from or something, I don't know. And then after this, I added a bit of opacity layer of yellow. I think I probably should have left that out. Here I'm fixing the bomb again. Just checking how things look, and then drawing a shriveled up worm. I find it cool watching things get drawn quickly, because at the time it wasn't very quick. Here I am drawing the worm spooging. This is frame by frame as well, except for the mouth. This took a while to get right as well, because I did my first go through, and like here I'm just getting keyframes of where I start and where I want to end up, and then I decided, no, that's dumb, it doesn't work, fuck this, do it again. Mostly because of the mouth doesn't line up with anything the way I like it. Yeah, so all of this is a waste of time because I never use it, so shouldn't have included this. But it's part of the timer. We're at 29 hours so far, 29 and a half. Still got 17 minutes left in this video. Plus whatever the animation is. Yeah, this is the final run where I got more of a liquidity feel to it. If you hadn't noticed either, the labeling on my layers, I made sure to do that better, and some of them are funny. It's good to keep myself entertained during it. Yeah, I like the way he just blows his load and then just flops to the ground. That was the... splat. It's a lot of repetition in animation. And I wanted it to come from the front, like I wanted multiple tapeworms. And the one that comes in the front, I think it's gonna be soon. But I just like warped the view of it and added a head a little bit. It looks really stupid, but I just couldn't be bothered to do it well. And I don't think you notice a lot of the flaws. If you just watch the video once, that 2-minute video, a lot of shit's happening. Who gives a crap? I wanted to get the timing right of the worm doing stuff before I did the lip syncing, because I wanted their heads to be looking the proper direction before I was doing lip syncing. And that depended on what the worm and the bomb were doing. What are we, 45 seconds into this 2-minute video? The 2-minute cartoon? Yeah, but, what were we at? Like 18 hours when we were at 7 seconds, so another 10 hours got us 30 seconds. That's pretty good. You can see my animatic, I had just like a shit ton of worms at the beginning, because the idea was to make one walk cycle and then have them all do it, but the way I did the worm cycle was not that quick because I moved it individually, frame by frame, for the walk cycle to get them flopping accurately. So nuts to that. Plus I didn't want them... Well, do I have them in the background? No, I don't. Yeah, here's the joke that I like. That's my favorite joke in the thing, is when Aaron is misinterpreted as racist and all the ants walk away. You can see the one in the background kind of just warps into Aaron's body. I didn't bother to fix that because, once again, laziness, I guess. But there you can see me do the frame by frame shifting of the body of the worm. Yeah, and this is the warped perspective one. I tried to initially do it frame by frame, like how it would look if it was just flopping from the front, and it just looked too stupid and I couldn't do it, and so I just decided to make it look stupid instead. Less stupid. Yeah, I started giving his face facing that way, but then to get him to spooge, I needed to just casually, you know, you gotta get him to spooge. I also liked how, or it was intentional to have Aaron's Pancakes, the sign, halfway off the screen, so you only get that one glimpse when Jesus is in the screen to see what it says, and also at the end, but it's more subtle. I like... there's not that much subtlety to this video, but there is a bit, and that's good. I don't know if it shows up now or earlier, but you can see in the color swatch when it comes up again on the right, there's like a line of orange ones. Those are the Aunt Jemima colors. And by the end, it's almost all Aunt Jemima colors. It just kept adding itself. I have no idea why. I deleted them a whole bunch of times, but they just kept coming back. And I think they're in Aaron's symbol or something. One of them is. Because I think the table is in Aaron's... No, that's not. That's a lie. It's a dirty, filthy lie. Yeah, this is where I subtly shift Dan's head when he says insecticide. And I had the same guide layer that I did for Jesus' halo. That worked out real good. I guess a very large component is just lip syncing. A lot of the other Game Grumps animators, you see they just have individual facial expressions. Had I been better at just drawing facial expressions and exaggerated facial expressions, that would have been a faster and better route to go. But I like the smooth lip syncing as well. It just takes a lot of time. You can see the color swatches just building up a whole bunch of Aunt Jemima colors. The minor opacity orange. Look at all those. Ugh. Where do they keep coming from? Yeah, this is the one. I talked about this a while ago, but never finished my thought because we weren't at the part I thought we were. I wanted the facial expressions for the dramatic spooge pause where Dan telling him to drop a bomb and then Aaron is just getting jizzed on. But I didn't have enough time because of the audio was the way I cut it to begin with. It didn't have the break in time. Here I am, him holding up his jugs for the worms to adequately spooge upon. I didn't have the adequate timing when I did the audio. It didn't have the dramatic pause in it. So I had to just like quickly do the facial expressions and put that into a different video, and then I had to time it properly in Adobe Premiere. That caused a bit of a headache because of the timing inside of the symbols themselves, and I had to get one had to match with the timing of the audio for the rest of the lip syncing. So I had to insert it and fiddle around with it there, which wasn't as easy as I wanted it to be. I had a bit of trouble with the spooge frame by framing because I did too much. It was going too slowly, and I wanted to have it like dripping and be really gross and dramatic and stuff, but I need more experience in fluid dynamics to get better at that. Look at all that colors. Yeah, as you can see, why is it like this? He's a straight up dick right there. Look at that. He's got the nut sacks and everything. But yeah, the in-between frames, I drew them and I colored them and I did all that, and then I would watch it and then I'd delete half of them. Yeah, and you can just see the table teleport there because I wanted a clear view after the dramatic pause of Aaron just getting a shower. I didn't want to just keep repeating the same frame like I did with the one on the right. So this one is, the one in the front at least has more dynamic spooge area. The one on the left has more dynamic. The one on the right just makes his patch a stronger claim. Yeah, here I'm starting to think about the ending scenes. They don't really like fit with the flow. Like I probably could have ended it right at this part, like after this part, but I wanted to highlight that Aaron's not sharing. That's where we started, so that's where I wanted to finish. Spent a lot of time on this spooge. Yeah, he's all half behind the table, so I didn't even bother fixing his body or changing that. It's like he's taunting Dan while he tells him to get the fuck out of here. You can see the background clearly at this point, the gradients that don't mesh for some reason. I couldn't figure that out. Excuse me. Oh, I did use the side. Did I? No, I changed it. Yeah, I think I tried to use the side view, but then I changed it because it looked stupid and I couldn't get the symbols to match properly. And oh no, I did. I used it. It wasn't a waste of time. And no, I didn't use the side head. The side head was a complete waste of time. 3/4 head. Basically exclusively used for Dan. It looks like he's hailing Hitler there. Very naughty Dan. Learn some history. Yeah, all in all, it's kind of a weird scene. And then I have him do a alien head come in just from the side. Also, you can see that there's like some consistency with the dead worm there and the confetti, but when I rotated Aaron, the confetti was inside of his symbol, so I just got rid of the confetti and got rid of the worm and just made a clean settings. I didn't... Continuity can suck my left ear. What is this? Oh, this is the end post-credit scene. Yeah, that was just... I had this in mind right from the get-go, but I had forgotten about it, and then... because I spent like... This is like 3 months down the road. And I finally got back into it, and I'm like, oh yeah, this part. Well, what am I doing? I'm spooging on Dan? I like the way it turned out, too. I had to rotate him a bit, but I basically just used stuff that I did before, so it wasn't all that much extra. The whole video came out to like just over 2 minutes. That wasn't intentional. Like, it may seem like I extended the end here and the middle to be just over 2 minutes, but that's just a coincidence. I don't even know if that's beneficial in any way. For sure. Yeah, this one was a little extra fun because it had a little bit of a drip. And then I did this nonsensical spinning into the ether explosion that I got to reuse as well. Oh yeah, I was doing lip syncing for this guy. Instead of like doing individual lips, I just did symbol squishing and such. And it crashed. I don't like the lip syncing with symbol squishing and squashing and all that, but it's a lot faster. And I just added a whole bunch of bombs, made them small, or explosions, and rotated them. And sort of mashed them up with the audio. Because there were 2 big explosions in the audio. And Dan changes his facial expression at the end. Everything's all fucky because near the end, none of the... didn't go to the proper frame ending. Yeah, this is just I'm going through frame by frame and just adding red to Dan's arm. And matching it to where it's supposed to be. Adding a couple drips that nobody would possibly notice. Gotta put in the effort. Yeah, here I am trying to do this video thing again for the... This is when I'm just doing the facial expressions for the dramatic pause in the middle. And I'm trying to do close-ups using the video camera. Because when I put it in... If I just exported it and then did close-ups in Adobe Premiere, it kind of made it look choppy. Like you can see I'm in Premiere here. It made it not choppy, it made it look low quality, because if you zoom in Adobe Flash Animate, it's vector, which means it's mathematically the lines are there, but if I was zooming in Premiere, I was just zooming in on pixels. And I was planning on having this as my actual... I drew Aaron as poopy because I couldn't draw his face adequately. I was having... This would be my opening. Would be just like a time lapse of the... this. But it was long and boring. Like this entire video you've been watching. So instead I did it frump. Yeah, I did the first one where Aaron was poop and then I didn't like it, so I did another one. I was recording this as well and then I'd smooth it out at the end, but this was also boring. But it came out looking okay, so this is the actual image that I use for the opening card. And I also use the thumbnail for it too, the individual heads. And also the transitions and the end scenes where you go ba-da-ba-ba. But yeah, you can see this is like a minute long. And if you're watching a 2-minute Game Grumps animated, you don't got time for that. Okay, so I'll show you the video now again, so you can see what you've been watching. Thank you for watching.
No! Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, there's so many. There's so many. There's so many.
I know. Dan, don't you think I fucking know?
Oh, my God.
Jesus! Tell me something I don't fucking know! Tell me trigonometry or something! I know there's so many! I can see! Jeez! There's little fucking ants everywhere, too! Where do they come from? They've never been in this game before! And they just showed up in this stage, which great is, you know, I'm all about fucking, oh, it's a surprise. But fuck!
Bomb them. Bomb them.
Die.
There you go.
But the fucking ant doesn't die.
There you go.
Ant
It's
doesn't
okay.
give a shit.
It's okay. He'll just go about his anti-business.
Ant's as big as my fucking foot.
It's like Jurassic.
Bigger.
in here. Yeah, and these are tapeworms. This is pretty gross in here, actually.
It's an insecty cave.
Yeah.
I will say that much.
It's insecticide.
God, they do so much damage.
The tapeworms?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's fucking. Oh, and they just come forever.
Drop a bomb. Oh shit.
Get out of here. Get out of here, you fucking little red armors. Get out of here. Get out of here. Don't. Get the fuck out of here.
Now. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,